Hello there, I'm EP3O, and I'm known for creating a variety of Stellaris content, from guides, challenge videos, and getting all those 191, soon to be more, Stellaris achievements. Today, I'm collaborating with Paradox Interactive to give you a beginner's guide to Stellaris, and the 4.0 economy update and other new features. There's going to be something for brand new players and even advanced players, as it's all so different now. I'll be going through the first 10 years of the game to get your empire and economy up and running, and showing you every click I do so you can play along. This will set you up to do whatever your goals are in the game. Now let's get into it. So you've booted up Stellaris and you're met with this amazing art on the screen and you want to play a game. Let's start a new game and you will be met with a bunch of pre-made empires you can just select and get into. Stellaris has a lot of customizability. As you can see on the left, I've made a fair few empires, and that's not all of them. But to keep it simple and to really focus on the 4.0 changes, we're going in just with the United Nations of Earth so you can play along. Everything here can be customized, and it changes not just how it looks, but also how it plays in the game. It's why Stellaris is so replayable, and we'll have so many hours in it. We'll walk through what all of these do while we're playing, but honestly, it's better just to dive into a game and see what things do. I'm then going to reset to default all of my settings so that you can play along with the default settings. I like to customize these to how I like to play the game. It's again a beautiful thing about Stellaris, it's so customizable. But as a new player, it can be overwhelming, so let's just jump in. So to start, again, a lot of information. This is just your empire summarized, and then the origin has a lovely backstory that you can really get into, but I'm just going to show you the mechanics, but the roleplay and lore you can create from this game is endless. So to start, you will be met with this screen. It looks overwhelming, but don't worry, I'll break it down. At the top here, we have our resources. This is your empire's economy, and all planets that we have here, Earth, mineral deposits that you can see are being mined because they are green, are contributing to these resources. You can hover over and get a big breakdown of everything from what is being produced, consumed, and a big breakdown on exactly what this does, what they're used for, and how to increase it. You can do this for every resource if you ever get confused. And remember, you can pause the game. The game starts paused, nothing will happen. You need to click here to resume or click space to play, but you can take this chill, there's no rush. The resources are broken down into a couple categories. We have the basic resources, energy, minerals, and food. Energy is used usually on upkeep of different things, but it can also be used to clear blockers. Then you have minerals. Minerals are very important because you use them to build buildings and districts and mining stations, which then increase your economy further. So this is like the basic resource that will get you going. We then have food, which is used to upkeep your population, which work the jobs that you build from the minerals, and then you can refine these essentially into consumer goods, which are used to upkeep advanced jobs like scientists, alloys that are used to build more advanced structures like civilian ships, military ships, starbases, and megastructures later on in the game. Trade is used to buy and sell things on the market. This is a new 4.0 change where trade is now a resource rather than just being a magic number that's produced on your planets. It'll also be used for ship upkeep and colony upkeep. So if you have any deficits on your planet, it will use trade to essentially ferry trucks from wherever you are producing that resource to it. You still need the resource that's in deficit too, so this is just an extra complication added on to what we were all used to before. You then have strategic resources, which are more advanced, that let you do more advanced things. Influence is used for outposts, diplomatic pacts. Unity, which is similar to science, these will progress your empire and unlock new cool things. Empire size, which essentially means as you expand, your texts and traditions and edicts are going to cost more. Then you have envoys, starbases, and naval capacity, which we will touch on later. You can't really influence anything up here, it just tells you how your economy is doing, how your empire is doing. On the right, you have the outliner. This is an overview of everything that you can control. There's tabs like ships, so you can just see your construction ship, your science ship, and your military ships. And this is fully customizable. I think I have it customized. I don't even know what the default is, but you can move that around when you start playing. Now, the big change is planets. And it's not just a visual change. These are fundamentally different to 3.14. We still have things like stability, population, crime, housing, amenities, available jobs, and currently unemployed, but population has been scaled up to 100. This means it's more granular, so we still have 4 basic districts. Let's start with the bottom 3, as they're more simple than the city district. The generated districts for each one will produce housing and technician jobs. These technicians produce energy. They have a mineral cost and an energy upkeep. The same is true for the mining and food districts. If we come over from surface at the bottom to economy and scroll down to workers, we can see all of these jobs being worked by population. If you had 20,000 available jobs, but not enough pops to fill them, you won't get the output. So you don't want to build too many jobs that nobody's working them, as you're still paying the upkeep. And that's a big issue a lot of newer players come to, is that they never look at the economy tab to see if their jobs are actually being worked or if you have enough population. You can see their upkeep in the top and then their total production. You can see they're producing a little bit of trade, and that's due to their living standard. But we don't really need to worry too much about that, as that's quite an advanced mechanic. Just know all pops produce a tiny little bit of trade. You can actually change how these jobs are being worked by moving this bar or clicking the minus or plus, or you can favorite them to make them work them. Now, where it gets a bit more complicated is in the city district. You can see there's a bunch of pluses. These are building slots, which you can build buildings using minerals, and there's a whole host of different things that you can build. The tooltips will tell you exactly what jobs they provide and what resources they'll produce. So you can see an alloy foundry will give you 200 metallurgist jobs, which will produce 11.49 alloys, but for a mineral upkeep. To the right of this city district, we have zones. These zones are new in 4.0, and they give building slots, but also per city district built will give a certain amount of jobs, but less housing. So for each city district we have, which is free, we're getting a total of 60 physicists, biologists, engineer jobs, and 120 bureaucrats, and losing 600 housing. As you can see here, the math lines up in the economy. We have those jobs. The same is true for the mixed industry. So each time we build a city district, it will build all the archive jobs and all the mixed industry jobs. And that's why the city district is 500 minerals instead of 300 like the basic ones. Now, there are also building slots here, but they are limited to what these zones are doing. So we can only build unity and science buildings. If we look at the mixed industry, it's just civilian industries and alloy foundries. These zones can be changed. If you click on them and then click the change button here, you can customize these into different zones, which will give different jobs per city district. These will, however, cost you 1,000 minerals. If you come over to management, you can see your planet details like the habitability, the size, when it was colonized, any planetary features that you can therefore clear, and you can see your current population, all the pop groups, and how they're growing by hovering over the monthly pop group. You can also ascend the planet, which will give better designations. As this is a empire capital, it's giving you a bunch of buffs. Then you can see your armies on your planet and any holdings, which we don't need to get into right now. Now, the last thing is there is a new category of jobs, and that's civilians. Civilians are essentially unemployed workers that have just become happy with being civilians. Civilians will produce a small amount of trade and amenities. They're essentially clerks from days gone by. Clerks aren't necessarily gone, but city districts do not produce them anymore. These civilians will instantly employ any jobs you build, so if you see your trade and amenities go down when you're building things, that would be why. So why are amenities important, and why do you not want them to go down? Well, high amenities gives you a bonus to happiness. Lacking amenities, though, makes your pops unhappy, which you can see if you come over to Management tab and click one of the pop groups. You can see their happiness. We're all good at the moment. They're very happy. However, a lower happiness will result in a lower stability. A high stability, above 50% and in the green, will result in more resources from jobs, and this scales depending on how stable you are. We're getting 9.6 at 66%, but at 70% this would go up. A low stability, below 50% or in the red, will result in less resources from jobs. You don't want that. It will also raise crime, which is very annoying. As above 30% crime, you'll start getting crime events, which will lower stability, and also you'll start getting criminal jobs, which will use up your precious populations to just work crime jobs. Now, how do you affect all of this? Well, that's through buildings and districts, of course. Amenities can be solved through buildings such as the luxury residence, which will give you 3,000 housing and 2,500 amenities. Insufficient housing will also cause penalty stability, but building districts will also give you housing. As you can see, all of these give housing. There's also zones like the urban expansion for housing, and also the hollow theatre building will give entertainer jobs, which will produce a bit of unity and amenities. As we can see from economy, they're producing a nice healthy amount of 2,000 amenities. My tip is to try and stay above 50 stability. Keep these numbers in the green as much as you can, but don't go too overboard. we're fine now. We don't need to build more housing and amenities. We want to actually get more resources. There are a bunch of other factors, but this is the most simple breakdown. When you get more into the game, you can figure out other ways to increase stability, amenities, etc. Now, if you ever get stuck, you can come over to the bottom right and click Data Bank. This opens up a data bank with a bunch of information on so much stuff. So say you wanted to increase your alloys, you could type alloys, and it will come up with the data bank entry for alloys. Alloys are an advanced resource with significant military applications. Among other things, they're used to construct civilian ships, military ships, starbases, and mega structures. To increase, build a mixed industry or heavy industry. Build alloy foundries, or you can buy on the market. If you actually click the galaxy map, you can actually expand and scroll out to see the entire galaxy. We are in a small portion of this galaxy, but we can zoom in and make it less overwhelming. You can see on the system we have different numbers with the energy, mineral, and engineering research icon. Green means we are collecting it, white means we can mine it. So if you click your construction ship here or on the side and right click the system, you can just automatically build the mining stations or research stations and automatically construct. However, we're not going to do that just yet because we want to save the minerals to start upgrading Earth. However, first, anything that's important will pop up on the top bar here, and we've got text staring at us. This is your research screen. You can access this on the left as well, and you get 3 different categories of technologies. Text will improve your empire or your ships. You can get more information by hovering over different aspects of the tooltips. I'm going to pick technology for physics, unity for society, and let's go powered exoskeletons for engineering. This is all focusing on our economy because I want to play a little bit peaceful and not go to war instantly, so we don't need military technologies. Now, the next thing I'm going to do before even unpausing is select our science ship. Science ship will explore around and allow us to expand. We don't actually see any of our guaranteed planets, but that's fine. We'll try and find them. So I'm going to go right click and explore a system. Exploring lets you find the different systems, map the hyperlanes without wasting time on serving, as serving will take longer. However, without serving, you can't build outposts, so we will want to come back and survey. Another thing we can do is click our military ship and split it up so we have a fleet with just one ship and a person. This person is a leader. Leaders can give you more outputs and they level up, which means they'll get more traits and better output. However, the more important thing is you can explore with military ships if they have a leader in. So we're just going to send them down here to explore that way. We need to find our planets. Next thing I'm going to do is click on the market on the left. You can buy in bulk and change what you're buying in bulk. But we're going to buy some monthly minerals as we actually have 40 free trade, which is not really doing anything. Let's buy 25 minerals. Now you notice when I click it, it doesn't change anything because the game works in monthly ticks. So when a month passes, it will start buying. There's not too much we can do now, so let's play. You can change the speed by clicking the plus and minuses, and remember you can pause by clicking or pressing space. So a month will pass by and you can see the resources change. We have some spare trade left over, so let's buy 35 instead. Now there are tasks or empire focuses that you can see in your situation log, and then empire focuses. These are great for newer players to actually find out what should I do. There is a reward for progressing through these, and that's just unlocking the option of these technologies. Don't worry, more experienced players, these give no progress to them. These are just purely to help out, and the last ones aren't too bad if you wanted to focus, like jump drives, existential campaigns, and mega engineering. However, when I've been playing, I have not been focusing on these too much, as you will just kind of get them as you go in the game if you're playing normally. You can focus on different focuses. You can either explore, conquest, or development, which will affect what cards you get. We're going for development, economy first. Now we have gotten 400 minerals, so we're going to come over to our planet and build a mining district. I have found massively that minerals are incredibly important because of the zones and specialization requirements. If we get mineral purification, global energy management, or food processing, it unlocks zones which give more jobs per district, and it opens up building slots which can give more jobs and more buffs to jobs. Minerals seem to be key in 4.0. So we have found Alpha Centauri, a continental world. You can hover over it to see what type it is, and because we're continental, I know we can inhabit it, even though it's orange. Now, habitability can seem confusing, but we're going to break it down a bit more. When you are creating an empire, you have 3 categories of planets that you can choose from: dry, wet, and cold. These affect how your planets are built. Dry will have more energy districts, wet will have more food districts, and cold will have more mineral districts. However, you do have 3 different types within this As you can see in the bottom right, there's different preferences. We're playing as continental, which means continental will get 80% bonus habitability, whereas the other two types, tropical and ocean, get 60%. The rest get 20%. So we're going to want to aim for continental worlds, or maybe tropical and ocean, but definitely avoid the other ones. But why, I hear you ask? Well, here we can see an arid world, where we get 30% habitability. However, if we inhabit this world with humans, we're going to get 70% amenity usage, 70% upkeep, minus 35% job efficiency, and minus 35% growth speed. These are not good modifiers. As a general rule of thumb, avoid the red planets when you survey them. Definitely go for the greens, like this ocean world is 70%. These negatives are not as bad, but definitely try and get as close to 100% as possible, as they massively reduce the negatives. Even yellow planets, like this tundra world, with 40% habitability, you might want to be careful about inhabiting. However, fear not. There will be terraforming where you can terraform your planets into the type you want. There's also a bunch of habitability technologies to grow your habitation on other planets, as well as the ability to potentially change habitability preferences on your species. Just be careful of inhabiting every planet early game. We are, however, going to keep exploring, but instead of worrying about where they're going, we're just going to do auto explore, which will automatically explore for us. You get that by clicking science automation and just checking explore systems. We're now going to build a second science ship by coming over to shipyards and Sol Station and clicking science ship. Science ship will be pooped out and we have a new science ship. However, it can't really do much without a leader, so let's click empty leader slot and let's recruit a scientist. Now, I very much like the look of Alexa Volkov. These traits mean that they have council traits, which give research speed and experience gain, but they're going to get less experience gain. We're going for the short-term play, and we'll hire, then we'll come over to the government, and in council, we can replace Eyes, I don't know how to say that, and put Alexandra here. So now we're getting those council traits. So we'll click on the Santa Maria, right-click the system and survey it. Then we'll hold shift and survey Alpha Centauri. This means we've queued up a command, so it'll be surveyed in a line. You do want to claim in a line because the cost for building a starbase increases a lot if it's not connected to your space. So our military ship has gone as far as we sent them. You can't, unfortunately, auto-explore with the military ship, so you do have to keep an eye on them, but you can use that shift command to actually queue some systems up. If they run into hostiles, they might die. Science ships won't, they will run away. But Margarita, the pizza, likes to battle, so they're not going to run. Now we have got our first tradition. Traditions massively change up how your empire runs, what you're focusing on. There's so many to choose from. And also, there's a big debate of what you should go first. Some people like discovery, so you can survey, explore, and research more. Some people, me, like statecraft because you can level up your leaders faster. But I'm going to go for prosperity since it helps with the economy, and that's what I'm trying to get up and running for you guys. Now, we did finish that mining district, which means we're now up to 600 mineral districts and workers, but we lost some civilians as they instantly went to work the mining jobs. This is fine. Civilians are not that great because the trade produced by them is nowhere near efficient to what, for example, a commercial zone would get. This gives 200 jobs and would give 34 trade. We're getting 40 trade from 1.7 thousand civilians. Yeah, you want to start building your economy up quick. That's why I'm going for minerals. And honestly, let's build another mining district. We're also going to now construct on the mineral stations, hold shift, and build the research stations. And then because we know we have a planet coming up, let's build a colony ship. That takes a year. It's quite a long time to build. Hopefully by the time we get to Alpha Centauri, we have that colony ship ready to go. And we have found Sirius. Don't call me Shirley. So we'll queue up a science ship to go to Bernard Star, and then Sirius, and we found our starting planets. We could then start expanding towards the Savannah world, but our habitability won't be too high. Now, a new thing in 4.0 is that some events have been changed, and Contact Report will give us a technology and 10% progress towards it, like Xeno Diplomacy, which gives diplomatic weight, or Hyperlane Breach Points that gives a transit hub. None of these are too good. Let's go the egalitarian one. Now, you can see our trade has gone negative. This is fine. Let's just lower how many minerals we're buying. That will fix the trade. Don't worry too much. As long as you're not actually in zero, a monthly negative isn't always bad. Perhaps World Survey, let's go for the initiative. Let's find lots of planets. So we have actually found one of those strategic resources, but we need exotic gas extraction for it. We'll keep that in mind. So another mining district is done. I always think we should constantly be building, as the limiting factor early game is no longer minerals since we bought minerals. It's the build queue. You can only build one building district zone at a time. So what should we build next? You could go for anything. People who know me know I love technology, but I'm actually going to build a city district because remember, this city district is going to build all of these jobs. We're actually going to be maxed out. As you can see here, this is our maximum districts available. We currently have 0, but there's 3 that are red. This means if we come over to management, we can actually clear some blockers, which will give us more districts. Sprawling sums is also great to clear because it gives you 100 pops. So we'll queue that up next. But if you look, you can only do 1 at a time. We still have a lot of building slots to actually fill up as well, so we don't necessarily need to do too many clearings. And look, traditions available again. Let's actually reduce build cost and increase build speed, since that's been a limiting factor here. And you will find things in the wild, and you will get first contact reports. You can assign an envoy here to try and establish communication, and you can see where you found contact by this blue satellite. They look a little bit scary, almost Voidworm-like. So every so often an agenda will finish, you can just launch this and it will give pop happiness. This is the starting one, so you didn't actually get to choose that, but then you get to choose the next one. I think we need more unity. Let's get more unity. A colony ship is done, so I'm just going to send it to get ready at Alpha Centauri. No one should steal it, don't worry. This system is actually huge, so it's taking forever for them to survey. Oh no. I think it's worth getting another science ship. And we're going to send the science ship to go survey towards Sirius, and we will save up to get another colony ship there so we can get them going quickly. So the city district is about to build. Watch the scientist jobs and the alloy jobs all go up. The city district is pretty strong. We are losing civilians, which means our trade's slowly going down, but it's fine. We won't need to buy as many minerals. Also, we don't have a planet deficit yet, which means we're not using any trade to fix that deficit. Now I'm going to start filling the building slots. Let's get a lab. Yeah, I like labs. We can build that second colony ship. Leaders will also level up, and that will appear up here. You can basically pick whatever you want. Let's get a council trait, and let's get more trade. Why not? See, this system won't take too long because there was 4 planetary bodies. So it looks like we're going to be expanding with a construction ship, the Bernard Star. Right click, build that outpost. Cost you alloys and influence, but we're doing okay on that because the city district produced more alloy jobs. But I'd actually like some more. But I also want more tech. So let's get a city district because it will do all of them. Okay, construction's going crazy now. Let's get another construction ship so we can actually expand both ways. And one of them we will use just to mine the deposits later on. We're slowly going down prosperity. We've already reduced upkeep. Let's get more job output. These humans are working very, very hard. Another city district's almost done. I want more alloys after that because I have a little tip for 4.0, which we can actually start already. If we come into Bernard's Star, we can see this lowly little starbase, little outpost. Well, we can upgrade this to a starport. Now, this usually is for defense purposes, and it can still be that, but we can actually use it to help our economy. This other construction ship, expand quick. Sirius has been explored. We'll construct there, and Alpha Centauri, everything's happening now. So if we come into Sirius, we can actually click the colony ship, right click on Sirius, and colonize the planet. There's a bunch of information here about the planet, like the features, how many districts it has, the size, the class, and you can even automate it from the start. I would suggest not automating, but if you really don't want to manage planets, you can. I think it's a great thing in Stellaris to learn actually how to manage planets yourself. You can name it, we'll give it Sirius Prime, and the colony will start to be colonized. Now, don't worry if you want to activate or deactivate planet automation later in the game. You can just come over to your planet surface view, click on this cog for automation, it'll bring up the settings that you can customize, and then you can just click automation on or off. You can shift to do all in planet, or control for all in Empire. Let's gain some energy and xenophile ethics attraction. Here with this side ship, we will slowly expand towards this other planet. Now it is arid, so it might not be suitable for us, but if we come over to species, humans are adaptives. We do get 10% more habitability, so maybe we can. And we're also good at getting robots to work for us, so we'll start researching that as our first engineering technology finished. We're getting a bit more output. Now this construction ship, I'm going to automate, and it's just going to construct on all of the deposits we have. We can use this other construction ship to expand. We'll survey down here as well. Now this starbase is finished. You can see it's a bigger starbase than that one. You can also see it in your outliner. And as a building slot, the oranges usually tell you something can be done here. If you come over to the starbase and click on modules, you can build shipyards, anchorages, gun batteries, or a trade hub. This trade hub will just produce 8 trade without using any pops. It's very, very useful, and we could just get 16 trade going the cost of 100 alloys. 50 alloys cost 260 trade, and each trade hub is producing 8 trade, so we divide that by 8, which means it will take 32.5 months to pay off the debt of the alloys. And if you want to be really technical, it does have a 1 energy upkeep, which is 1.3 trade, so it'll take you a little bit longer. But this will pay itself off. And yes, you did have to upgrade the Starbase too, but we can also build a Hydro Bay, which gives us 10 food, which can also be then sold for trade. So I went a bit nerdy and did the entire calculation for the Starbases, which are producing 16 trade and 10 food. The total cost of the Starbase, including the Starbase, was 350 alloys. Using the buy price of 1 alloy, that would mean 1,820 trade. We are producing 16 trade and 10 food. 10 food would equal 7 trade per month if we use the sell price, so a total of 23 trade from the trade hubs as well. There is, however, an upkeep of 1 energy on the Hydro Bay and trade hubs and 2 on the Starbase, not including any reductions from the cost to build these and the upkeep. That is equal to -5 trade a month, which is 3.5 trade, so we're gaining 19.5 trade a month. So that would take 93 months to pay off the alloy debt, or 7.8 years. This math is not perfect, but it gives you an idea of when these Starbases start paying back. It's not a quick time to pay back, but it also will just start making pure profit after that. You can also retrofit these into military Starbases or anchorages or shipyards, and you don't have to pay the Starbase alloys, just the module and building costs. It also doesn't include the fact that we're not using pops to get these resources, which at the end of the day, they are your most important resource, as without pops, you don't actually make anything. That's why I built a fair few city districts, because we're getting alloys, consumer goods. We're just trying to get the economy going rather than just spamming tech like you'd see me do, but we're at 100 tech and we can keep building more tech. We're running out of civilians, but that's fine. Let's build another tech. Then we'll build another Starbase to do exactly the same thing, and we'll colonize this other planet. Now, we are getting a huge boost from our origin. We're getting 10% resources from jobs, happiness, and amenities, which helps stability, which is giving us 25% resources from jobs. But we really start off with a great economy. It's good. It's all basically from minerals, even though we have so many minerals. Now, of course, this is on Cadet, which is the default difficulty, which gives you a little bit of a bonus to your economy, but this would work on Grand Admiral. I have played a fair few games doing the exact same thing now and testing different approaches. You definitely want the minerals early on. We have more techs being finished. Let's get more energy from jobs. Again, we're going economy. Food from jobs, economy. With a great economy, we could defend ourselves, push on, set you guys up nicely. We're just going to keep doing tech. Because our economy's fixed, we can just research, which then gives us more economy. Prosperity can be finished. We can go Ascension perk, and I guess we may as well get more tech with technological ascendancy. Now, we have so much energy, we could even think about clicking on the generate district and replacing this district with something else, like a city district, to get more decks, unity, alloys, consumer goods. I think we'll do that. So we have finally colonized Sirius, and you can see there's not much going on here because it's a blank slate of a colony. This means we can actually choose our specialization without replacing it and feeling bad about wasting minerals. Now, if you wanted to start going aggressive and build a massive fleet, you could build alloys. We're doing tech, so I'm going to build a research enclave. This will give 90 total science jobs and split them across all. However, you could get 10 extra jobs if you just focused on physics, society, or engineering. Let's be general and do a research enclave. Now, I have found it's actually quite nice to build the deficits that you're getting, which means consumer goods are going to be needed on this planet. So let's build a civilian industry after that. And the reason being is the trade on the deficits adds up over time, meaning you're going to have to build loads of trade jobs. But if we could just cure the planet deficit, we're actually saving on those trade jobs. So we could even go like crazy and build a generator district to actually cure the upkeep on stuff. And actually later on in the game, it's not a bad idea to have one basic district of each, because you can't specialize the districts unless you have one built, which means you don't get access to the free building slots. I'm telling you, this update is like a fever dream compared to 3.14, as I would never tell you to generalize your worlds, but times have changed. So you can see these jobs are being filled up now, getting a bit of science going. We do have colonists, which are producing amenities, happiness, stability, automatic resettlement, designation chance, build speed, and it's producing a bit of unity. This is just to help your colonies get off the ground. It doesn't mean our civilians are going to start migrating from Earth to these new planets. Let's make this an alloy world. Why not? Which means alloys need minerals, so I'm going to build minerals there. We're actually maxed on starbases, and if we go over, we're going to start paying more upkeep, and that's just annoying. I don't want to do that. But if we come over to government, policies and edicts, and then fortify the border, which is a edict we have unlocked at the start of the game, it'll cost us 20 to activate and then 20 to upkeep. We only have 36, that's not great, but we have a 25 edict fund. That means anything below the number 25 won't actually go from our monthly unity, so we can just activate this. This will give us 2 more star bases, which means we can go crazy and build more trade hubs, more hydro bays, more star bases everywhere. Now, if you did find an angry neighbor, you could build a star base on their border to just protect yourself a little bit, but we haven't had that, so we can just put everything into economy. I'm going to build this monument as it gives us 5% more unity and unity per civilians. This might have been better to build early now that I think about it. Every time I play this game, I find something new that I should have done, but that is the first 10 years, and you should get off to a great start. Even if you're playing on Grand Admiral, the numbers just won't be as high. I hope I've explained these mechanics a lot more and how to actually get off and running. The city districts and zones can be confusing, but once you get your head around it, it does seem to make a lot of sense. And for the purpose of showing you these specializations, I have given myself all research and put insta build on. You can see an energy generator specialized district will give more energy jobs per district, but also unlock the building slots. You can also actually make them produce less energy, but give you more physicists and physicist output. So tech worlds can go crazy. When we build the specialization, we get the slots, and there's a bunch of stuff you can build. A lot of these are Fallen Empire stuff, but you will get access to more jobs, a percent increase, which is a must to build, and resource silos. The rest are from very late game technologies. You can also unlock extra zones on your colonies once you get the planetary capital upgrade and the appropriate tech. Good luck with your Stellaris adventures. I hope I've given you a great platform to go off and explore, expand, and exterminate. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I've been EP Frio. Goodbye.